Hello, everyone. 411 Business here. And today in the studio, we have the magnificent Coach James Golf. Coach James, tell us about Golf Enterprises.
Awesome. How's it going, folks? I had to change my glasses there.
Love it.
Hey, Golf Enterprise, folks. First of all, hey, JC, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. It's great to be on with you. I loved our conversation we had last week. And guys, let me tell you something. She is fun. She is fun. And what an amazing opportunity to connect with her. Golf Enterprises. Golf Enterprises is sort of the umbrella organization. We have several DBAs, so I'll just mention a few of those. One of them is the JKG Consultants, which we do the primary, most of our coaching and workshops on in personal life and executive leadership development, relationship building. What does that look like? Communication skills, connecting and communicating. I even have a program where I teach people how to communicate as a presenter or a performer, or why not do them both, right? And so I do coaching and on that. Also, so that's JKG Consultants. It's run and founded by my wife and I both, Katrina and I. And her main focus is not just leadership and life coaching, but also she has a program called Marriage Fitness Training, where she identifies and helps couples identify what is strong with their marriage, not what is wrong with their marriage. In other words, we don't do counseling. In fact, I, yeah, I gotta say this so up front. We don't do counseling. We don't do counseling. We don't go back where you were. Okay, we might touch that for a bit to understand where you are today, but we take you from where you are today and move you forward. So that's what coaches do, as opposed to a counselor. So we do that. After talking to some of the folks that we've possible coaching clients, we needed counseling after that. No, it's like, woo, no, I don't think so. You need to go
I
next
love it.
door. And but so there's marriage fitness training. We have JKG Consultants. And then I recently launched actually, it's not launched yet, but I've recently started developing a program called Hero to Home. And what it is, it's a veteran transitioning for success program. There's an online courses, there's coaching available. Because I'm retired military. I spent 26 years with the military. I've been not just a student of leadership, but I've been a practitioner, and I've also been an instructor at a senior leadership academy for the military. And so helping these young kids, and most of them are young. Well, anymore, just about everybody's younger than me. JC, you're a heck of a lot younger than me, youngin. so, but we take these kids out, and what I've realized is with the Hero to Home program, which is going to be launched June 24th. I do have a website for it. I do have a Facebook page for it. Started up. I had to redo the Facebook page, but so that's what it's about. It's helping those that not just want to transition smoothly, but the
Mhm.
ones that truly want to transition with excellence and succeed in their personal leadership, in their finances, in their communication and community development. And it's a course. Now, we're not a veteran service organization. In other words, we don't do free. We don't do free. And JC, maybe you can back me up here, right? But when people do free, they only put that much effort into it, right? They said, well, it was free. I'm not going to commit my time. No, we charge for it. And the truth is, you're going to get the very best of the best when you get this, because here's what it is. And JC, I know you can relate to this too. When you do business with certain organizations, you get people that are clients, okay, and customers. With us, it's a partnership. It's a total partnership, you know, and so that's what we have under Golf Enterprises. We have those three entities, and essentially we had to do that instead of creating all these new businesses with their own LLCs and stuff. We said, well, let's have an umbrella with DBAs, and it made things a whole lot better financially, taxes, all that other government stuff. I'll say the word stuff. Uh,
I love it. I love it.
yes.
I'm dying laughing about the free stuff. It's so true.
Yeah.
It's like I look at for me, it's like I with 411, I want to give people the opportunity to come in and advertise, right, for their
Mhm.
businesses because so many people they have to pay for something before they even get it. And so I thought, oh man, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna tell everyone, I'm gonna advertise for everyone. It's gonna be so amazing, and I'm gonna tell everyone it's free, it's free. And then I'm like, why do I have to chase people down? But it's
Yeah.
because evidently, if you don't make them pay, then they think it's not worth anything. It's like, okay, because I'm not charging you $1,000 to do this, like this company and this company and this company, does it mean it's not valuable? And so, it's so funny that you touched on that. That's why I was laughing, dear, because it's like,
Well, and it's so true. I mean, people will only put forth the effort that they're invested in financially. We will
yes,
only invest the time we have into something equal to or less than, because how many people you don't know that pay for stuff and don't do the work? But but if you give it to them for free, they'll say, "Oh, this is neat, this is cool," and it ends up lost somewhere if they do anything at all. So, my good thing is that people are more invested in their personal growth when they invest their personal finances.
yes.
If it doesn't come out of the pocketbook, it's not going to sink in the brain, right? So I make people pay for the programs. I don't know how many times we've had people try to milk us for free. It's like, okay, I know your game. I see your game. Okay. We charge for this. We have a business, right? Okay. Uh, and, uh, and so, it's just the thing, and I've worked in this industry long enough that I understand that, that's just the game. That's the game. And it is a business. Here's a business. Here's the thing. If businesses just give free, free, free out of the kindness of our hearts, even for a good cause, then you're going to go broke. You're going to go broke big time.
Absolutely.
Your personal finances are going to suffer, not just your business finances. That's why even nonprofit organizations, though they're nonprofits, they still have to have funds coming in to operate and function, right? So that's why we do that with that program. But one more business I'll share with you real quick, and people may find this kind of funny and surprised, and I think I shared this with you. I don't remember, but the other business we have under this is called Golf Entertainment, and Golf Entertainment is I'm a entertainer. So put me on a stage. I'm either going to be speaking, teaching, coaching, or I'm going to be singing up a storm. Okay, one of
I
those. I'm
love
going to
it. I love it.
and so I do. I'm an Elvis tribute artist, and I like to say right now I'm in between gigs. Okay, unless I want to try for the part of Charro or something, one of Elvis's movies. But no, I do Elvis, so I have the full jumpsuit, the fake sideburns. I mean, they're real hair though. And let me tell you something. I wish I could grow them because it'd be a lot cheaper than buying somebody else's hair sticking on my face. Those things are not cheap, but woo transformation. And but I do that also. So all that falls under those four businesses, entities, DBAs fall under Golf Enterprises.
So, okay, so when you were talking about the golf enterprises, so you said talk about that one a little bit again. You said you do entertainment and what's the other ones?
Okay, so the DBA is a Golf Entertainment, right?
Mhm.
The Hero to Home project,
Yes.
transition project, um, JKG
And
Consultants, and what did I say the other one was? Marriage fitness training. Marriage
okay,
fitness
perfect.
training. Yeah, those
Well,
four.
that's important. I loved that one. That one was really good.
Yeah,
I love
yeah,
it because you said that, you don't work on the past, it's not about the past. You're not counseling, you're actually teaching, I know our past is to be learned from and not lived in, and so I
yeah.
love that idea of taking where you are right now and moving forward. That's powerful.
Yeah, I have a saying, and I have a ton of J-isms, and but this is a saying that goes along with that. I said, "Listen, we learn from the past, we live in the present, and we lean into the future. You cannot lean forward if you're leaning back, right? But we can learn from the past to say, okay, how can I have a better day today? If yesterday sucked, what made it suck? What can I do better to make today not suck? And then
Absolutely.
how can I learn and grow moving forward? Leaders, and we're all influencers. And if you're an influencer, you're leading somebody. Well, true leaders are always growing and moving forward. We see further ahead, we see higher than everybody else, we see the end of the possibilities, and we head that direction. So, one of the programs that I teach on, is, and this is a big part of the Hero to Home, is self leadership. Is the very first level of leadership is self leadership. That's a
Yes.
biggie. And many people don't understand how they're not truly leading their lives. They're just living their life on
That is
accident.
a powerful statement. Very
Int-
powerful.
Intentionality matters. And most people aren't being intentional with their relationships. They're not being intentional with their finances. They're not being intentional with their goals and their dreams. Listen, opportunity, when it comes knocking, okay, it's because you invited opportunity to come knocking. People wait for opportunity to knock on their door. Opportunity doesn't show up on its own. So let me go up here. I think I can do. No, you've got to go out there. You got to seek it. You got to find it. I have another program called Basket. It's basically an acronym for, if anything you want in life. And I've applied this to my life because before, probably 20 years ago, I was timid. I was kind of shy. I was afraid to ask for what I wanted. I mean, I was afraid to ask somebody for the salt across the table. Can I have some salt, please? You know, and I might exaggerate a little bit on that one, but I've learned that when I ask for something, people are waiting to say yes. They're waiting for us to ask. If you are an expert in any field, if you have knowledge and wisdom and experience in anything, all of us are really just waiting for that one person to come up and ask us, "What do you know that's going to help me be better?" Well, all of us are. You know,
Everybody.
we all do. And every one of us is afraid to go ask that person. So we had to get over that. So I realized that when I did a lot of meditation on this, and I really thought asking started getting doors open. So I came up with an acronym called BASKET. I'll share with you, share with our friends here. BASKET, and I call it, a basket case, right? And the acronym is believe. Right? Believe that you deserve it. Believe that you can get it. Believe that you are the right person for it. You got to believe in yourself. Okay. If you don't believe enough in yourself, hey, borrow Coach Jay's belief in you because I believe in you until you can believe in it yourself.
I
A.
love
A is ask. Ask. If you don't ask, guess what? 100% of the uh, questions never asked have 100% of the answer says no. No, you're not going to, it's not going to happen. But here's what I've learned, Joe JC. When I ask, I have a 50-50 chance of getting a yes, right? There's either a yes or a no. Am I right? Is my
yes.
math right? I went to school in
Yes,
Texas,
yes,
so
but
yeah. I
right.
went I went to school in Texas. My math might be a little off, but I'm pretty sure that it's either yes or a no. Now, some people will say maybe, but the maybe is still a possible no or a possible yes, right? So if they say no, then I say your odds are even better than playing the Powerball. You got a no, not ever, a no, not right now, or a no, but tell me more. So
Mm.
your odds are still better getting them to the yes. It works perfect. Like if you're in sales, the same thing. If you're in sales, okay, for a product or service, you've got to ask those questions because eventually you'll get to the yes. If you're in sales in building relationships, say, hey, I want to ask that pretty little lady out for a date, right?
Over and over and over again
Yeah. There are
until we
there
say yes.
there's something about persistency, and then there's something about just, okay, look, this is just, I'm getting a restraining order against you. Okay. So we have to be savvy about this. But it is. So the no could be no, not ever. Okay. But the no, not right now. Okay, great. When's a great time to come? Always follow up with questions. My mentor, John Maxwell, says that wrote a book on it actually called Good Leaders Ask Great Questions. Okay. And that doesn't mean you're in a position of leadership,
Yes.
self leadership, which to me is the most important level of leadership, is self leadership because it intertwines with all the other levels, the other 7 levels of leadership. So, no, not right now. But then the third one is no, but tell me more. Well, yeah, you spark their interest. You better have a really good pitch. You better know what you're going to say. Don't stammer over your words. Rehearse, practice what you're going to say before you ever get the opportunity. Always think, what if this happens? How do I respond? Always be in that. Now, a lot of that comes in my military training. A lot of that comes in my martial arts training. Always be prepared for any activity that could happen, anything at all. How do I respond? Okay. So there's that. So that's the A, and I went a little long on that, so I'll shorten it for the others. So BAS,
No,
seek.
don't shorten it. We're learning. Keep going.
Okay. I'm going to charge you folks for this. Okay, all you guys watch. I'll send you the invoice. But S is seek. So seek out what you want. Do you know what you want? Go seek it out. Okay. K is knock. Knock on those doors. You say, now I don't think I'm qualified to be on the other side of that door. Here's what I know. If you don't knock on that door, you'll never find out. Once you knock on
Ooh,
the door to see if you are qualified or not, and they say, no, you're not, now's an opportunity to find out, okay, how do I get qualified? How do I qualify to be in this room with these people? Okay. You got to knock on the doors. If you want answers, you want success, you have to start knocking on those doors. You got to get over yourself. Okay. You're not as bad as you think you are. You're not as good as you think you are. You just are. But you want to be better. You want to be greater. You want to strive for excellence. You have to start knocking on those doors and get over yourself. Okay. The E, expect. So I believe it. I'm asking, I'm seeking, I'm knocking. Now I expect it. I have an expectation to receive. I have an expectation to succeed. That's my expectation. I have an expectation that no is going to say yes. And then the T is take it. You got to take the opportunities when they show up, and you have to take action. You have to take action. All this stuff you can believe, ask, seek, knock, and expect, but if you don't take action, and that's where the what they say, the tire meets the pavement, or those other neat little quotes. You have to take action, because nothing happens if you don't take action. All the knowledge in the world never got anybody anything until they started applying it. Take a library, go to a library, you walk in the
yes.
door, books
Yes.
everywhere. I went to the library. Great. Did you learn something? No, because I didn't take action to open the books and receive the information. Okay.
I have a little cliche that I use all the time that says knowledge with works becomes wisdom. So you can learn everything, you can read, you can study, but unless you apply it with the action, right? The application of it is how you become wise, right? Because you do it over and over and over, and every time
Mhm.
you get a little better. And if you want to get scientific about it, we talk about the axons and dendrites in your brain, and the mylar is the white coating, and the more
Yeah.
you do it, the thicker the coating gets, and now you create that neural pathway.
Exactly.
So
The neuroplasticity of the mind, of the things that we do, we
absolutely.
think about. I did a talk this morning while I was out on my morning walk on what was it was I can't remember the name of it now. Oh, wouldn't you know it? And this is live, so I can't. But
It's okay. Just think about it.
oh,
We got all day.
I can't think of the name of it now. Doggone it, I may have to look that up. But, uh, but let me look that up.
Yeah, look it up. Look it up.
I
We're
have to,
live.
I'm sorry.
You have to. I got to know it now.
Well, you know what? I do my lives, like this, my interviews, the bloopers are within the lives. That's it.
I
They're not
love
cut
it.
out, nothing cut out. I want people to know that we're authentic, you know what I'm saying? Authenticity
Absolutely.
matters. Ah, good
It
grief,
really
Charlie
does. It
Brown.
really does.
Uh, Rumination. The understanding what rumination is. The one word I couldn't think of. Rumination. How we ruminate on things. A lot of times we hear the negative aspect of ruminating on thoughts, and we allow thoughts to continue in our brain to where it affects our physiology and our psychology. If I'm stressed about something and all I do is think about that thing that's causing me stress, am I going to feel better? No,
No,
I'm not.
no.
So I have to learn that when I am ruminating, when ruminating is essentially just regurgitating. Okay, it's regurgitating the same thing over and over again. It actually came from a terminology based on the fact of cows and animals chewing their cud. They chew it long enough, keep chewing it until they can digest it, and then it starts to affect the body. Well, it's the same in our mind when we're ruminating, regurgitating the thought cud that we have. Then that's what goes into our bodies and our brains and our whole attitude for the day. So I thought, okay, I hear a lot about rumination being a negative thing, but you know what? There's also rumination of a positive thing. And that's what I shared this morning on my Instagram. When you can start thinking about the wonderful things, the opportunities, the friends, the friendships, the families, the blessings that we all possess each and every single day, and we have more blessings than we have curses. We actually do. The problem is we're not sitting down to count those blessings
Absolutely.
one by one. That's what it says. Count your blessings one by one. It didn't say count them in a group. Count them one by one because rumination starts to kick in. The neuroplasticity in our mind, we can mold that by what are we ruminating on? What are we thinking about? What are we allowing into our minds? And we entertain those thoughts. And, you know, and that's a huge thing too. I help people in my coaching practices to identify the fact that get to that point of awareness that, look, your stinking thinking is yours. You want to know why you're stuck because you keep sticking. Not life's not doing it to you. See, life doesn't happen to us, it happens through us. I learned that from Ed Milet, an amazing thought leader and
Oh,
author.
that's good. That is
It,
good.
yeah, life happens through you. It doesn't happen to you. It helps you become who you are. My tragedies in my life helped me become a better version of me. We've all had tragedies. We've all had things in our life that would hold us back, keep us down, push us in the back. But we have to take control of that. We have to realize that, look, am I going to allow all that to control me or am I going to control it? It's like
Absolutely.
I had cancer one time, right? And at first it got me down. Then I realized, no, if I allow this to get me down, that means cancer had me. I said, no,
Yes.
I've got it. It doesn't have me. Okay. So if I'm having a bad day, I have a bad day. The bad day does not have me. It's
Well, the
truly a
biggest thing
paradigm.
yes, the biggest thing with that, I really feel like, is that you are in control of your thoughts, and when you understand that everything starts with a thought, and the
Mhm.
most powerful thing is that a thought can be changed. So that's
Huge.
where you start to unveil your ability to control yourself, right?
Mhm.
Because it's what you focus on. And I know, like, when you were talking about the rumination, I call it the love effect because I'm obsessed with love. I was
Mhm.
loved so extensively. I grew up in the most loving, kind, nurturing family. And so now I am like obsessed with love. I'm obsessed with hugging people, loving people, helping them. And
Mhm.
so I literally now I'm like, okay, one of my friends told me the other day is like the love effect. I'm like, ooh, I love that because
Yeah.
it's contagious. When you help people, when you're loving and kind, just like anything else, it's contagious. So when you think about something, you are what you think about. If you
Mhm.
don't want to feel negative, change it and feel positive. Like every day, wake up and like, how can you have a bad day when you wake up and you woke up? The
Yeah.
world is so amazing.
And that's that sense of awareness that you have. I mean, you got that personal awareness, but it's also an intentional awareness. You choose to get up with the thought process. You choose to get up every day and put your feet on the floor and decide, am I going to fall back in bed or am I going to walk up and face my day? We make choices every single split second of the day. And, I have a saying, I say, that it's not the day that determines your attitude. Everybody hates Monday and they can't wait for Friday.
Hey, I love it.
You can't get
I love
Friday until
every
you
day.
well, I love every day too. Every day that that ends in D, if you're from the South, every day that ends in D, Monday, Tuesday, okay? But
I
every
never
single
heard
day.
that one before. That's a good one too.
It's your Texas J right here. And I was born and raised in Texas also, so, and I don't get sidetracked here, but you know how you can tell a Texan is from a guy's
How?
from Texas? You don't
How?
have to. You don't have to. They'll tell you. Okay. So, but
I love
I have
it.
this saying that I've said for years, and it's so true. And I try to encourage men and women wherever I'm at when they're having a bad. I say, it's not the day that determines your attitude. It's not Monday that determines your attitude. It's your attitude that determines your day. It
Absolutely.
doesn't matter which side of the bed you get up on. You can't say I got up on the wrong side of the bed. No, I can pretty much promise you if you'd gotten up on the other side, you'd still have this stinking attitude, this stinking thinking. And you'd still, at the end of your day, say, this day sucked. You know why it sucked? Because you started it off that way. We are in absolute control of our emotions each and every single day, but we choose to let outside influencers affect our internal inspiration.
Yes.
Okay. I
That's
need to write that
that is
down.
powerful and very
I need to
true.
write that down here. You know,
Don't lose it.
we
Well, at
we
least we
allow
got it
we got a recording here.
recorded.
Outside influencers determines our internal inspiration, and that's how we show up. What you think about, you bring about. I love what Wayne Dyer said. Wayne Dyer,
Ooh.
God bless his soul. He said that he says when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at begin to change. Well, when you
Mhm.
change the way you think of things, the things you think of begin to change. When you
Amen.
when you change anything about what you're doing, it will change you, you
I
know.
love it.
And and I live by that. I live by that daily, and I try to encourage others. I've discovered that my life purpose, and I know it's the same with you too, because you realize that, and that's why you do shows like this, and you're such an amazing, amazing inspiration and influence for so many. That uh, my purpose is people. People are my passion, and my passion is my purpose.
Yes.
People are my passion, and my
That's so,
passion
man, I'm telling you,
is
I
my
feel it.
purpose.
That is powerful,
Mhm.
which is
Preach it in
so
here.
phenomenal. I love it. It is so good to be around like-minded people. I'm so blessed to be able to do this. What an honor. Every day I'm like so honored to be able to come on, to be able to help anybody, and especially the ones that want to help themselves. I love
Right.
business, I love personal, but in business, it's like, I feel like when we know better, we do better. So, what an honor to be able to bring about resources
Mhm.
of anything in all kinds. That's why I'm always like, hey, if you have a business, I'll interview you. If you work for a company, I'll interview you. If you're thinking about a business, I'll interview you. If you're a kid, I'll interview you. Like, because it just helps you start thinking more and having these resources. And since
Yeah.
we are what we think about, right? We only know what we know. So the more information and know how we give people, and I'm like the person who wants to hold everybody's hand to make sure, but it just helps people, I love
Yeah.
it. It's
Yeah.
really
I
powerful.
you hold him by the hand, I kinda grab him by the collar. That's 2 different approaches.
No, no,
Candor with care
totally
is
different. I'm like, but yeah, not me. I'm like, I like tender, nurturing, kind,
mhm.
sweet. Everybody has their place.
I'm like, "You said you wanted to do this, now let's go, okay? No more
And I'm like,
excuses."
"Come on." And I'm like, "Come on, honey. Let me show you why it's gonna be so good. This is powerful. This is amazing. This is phenomenal."
Yeah, see, that's
So, yes.
Katrina. Katrina is the more the soft approach. And in fact, I guess for us, I sidekick on her marriage fitness training program. She says I'm a part, but I'm more the sidekick. This is her dream baby. But it's kind of like, okay, there's the good cop and the bad cop.
Yes.
There's a good cop and the bad cop, and you need that kind of mentality even within ourselves. There's a time to bring out the good cop, and there's a time to bring out the bad cop. And I hate to use the cop because I love my law enforcement, and I support them 100%. Some of them need to be kicked in the butt, but the but there are those that approach a good with a good approach, a positive approach, something that you got to know the people. That's why one of the things I do is I'm a disc uh,
Disc driller.
consultant, a disc, no, not disc. No, the personality
Oh,
behavioral assessment, with the
disc
Max, with the
consultant.
John, yeah, with the John Maxwell team. Yeah, I don't teach. Here's how you throw a disc.
Oh, okay. I like that.
Yeah, some call it a
No,
frisbee.
that's great. That's exciting.
Yeah, so I do that, and all my coaching clients, I always give them the Maxwell disc assessment. It's different than the other disc assessments, and there's so many out there. But we have 3 different graphs we use, and it helps me in every coaching client. It helps me to understand their communication styles, their
Mm.
connecting styles, their strengths, their weaknesses. Where's it at here? How do I need to connect and communicate with this individual? What matters most to them? Then I can approach them where they are. That's the thing, as leaders and communicators and connectors. And as an entertainer, I have to know, how do I connect with my audience? Not how does my audience connect with me? And too many people in leadership, especially leadership and in marriages, think that the other person needs to connect with them where they are. That's not leadership. That's not connecting. And your communication skills will really be not be as well as they could be. So
That is
that's
powerful. That is very good too, actually. You know what I mean? When you're wanting to reach somebody, when you're able to understand them better, it just makes everything so much easier. It's like told you before. I was like, "Ooh, I like tests. I give 7 tests." So
yeah,
I'm like, "Ooh, I want to take your test."
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
love it. It's
The
exciting to know who you are. When I look at it when you know things about yourself, you can do
yeah,
better, right? And so I'm always telling people like, "Hey, take this test. What is your love language? What's your attachment
yes,
style? What's your personality based on business? What's your personality based on relationships? How do you learn?" You know, and I even go into in relationships because I work with couples and well, mainly I work with people that are looking to be a couple with somebody. So
okay,
doing matchmaking, right? And so I even go in and give them a test to see what their sexual compatibility is, right?
mhm.
Because that matters big time.
It's huge.
So,
It's one of the big 3, you
oh,
know,
absolutely.
that destroys or makes relationships, finances, communication, and sex. So you,
Absolutely.
yeah,
So I looked at it like, well, hey, since I've been married 3 times and it didn't work, I really needed to focus on those 3 things. So I'm like, okay, if I can just be the best at these, understand finance, be what you want. That's my biggest thing. When you come to the table, for me, I'm never going to beg for a seat at the table because I'll go build my own table. Right.
there you
But when I
go, there
do
you go.
come to the table, I know that I'm bringing what you want. I'm going to work on myself to make sure I have all of those things covered, right? Might not be on the level that you are, but I'm working on it and I have the education and the know how. And so it's like drive, sustainability, right?
Mhm.
The ability to sustain it. You can talk about it all day, but do you have the drive to do it? And then do you have the knowledge to be able to sustain it? So those things are really powerful. And when you talk about couples and relationships, people tend to come to the table and act like they're the only person that matters. They want this and they want that and they want this and
Right,
they want that. But it's like, what do you bring? And on top of that, what does the other person want? Have you even asked?
right.
You
Well,
know?
by nature, we are selfish beings. By nature, it's easy to be selfish than it is to give.
Well,
Now,
honey, I'm trying to learn. I need to
yeah,
learn how to be selfish. For me,
but
it's
see,
like
but you have
I
a
don't it
need.
doesn't come easy for me at
Yeah,
all. I'm like, I just wanna please everybody else. I wanna make sure they're smiling and happy. That is when people say that, I'm like, everything needs a balance though, right? Because when you
yeah,
love to please people and you love to help them, and you place your value in what you can do for people,
mhm,
sometimes that's heart disheartening as well, especially in a world where so many people are not happy, you know?
yeah,
They're angry because they're miserable. And so, but I'm so joyful still, I love that people call me and they're crying and they're miserable and they call me. It's like there's 7 billion people in the world and this person is calling me. What an honor. you
Yeah.
know?
And it's
So
an honor. It's an honor that should never be taken lightly either, ever. I mean, when people look to you for wisdom, advice, encouragement, support, even sometimes a good kick in the pants, that is an honor that has
that's what I
cannot.
got my AI for. Woo!
But that is.
Seriously, because I'm not the person to do that. I'm the person who's gonna say, "It's okay, and we have love and butterflies, and everything is phenomenal." So I need
Yeah.
that.
Well, and that's great. Some people need that. I think it's really knowing your audience. Like I said, with that approach, you got to know your audience. Is it an effective approach? Would be the best question. Does it gain them the results they need by using that approach? If it does, then it's an effective approach. But you can be nice to people and they still not change because what they're doing is they're getting an easy out. I'm still accepted. I'm still loved
Yes,
and all my flaws, right? That's great. I
yes.
love you. You're flawed. You've got all these things going on. Okay, I get that. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Okay. And it's continues. It's a time for a different approach. It's time for a different approach. I've even had you know, personal family members that could only take, you give them nice. In other words, you have to balance out your candor with care. I say that with my military leaders, even. I said, look, you got to address your troops with candor and care. They got to know you care about them. Okay. But they also need to know that you mean business. There has to be straightforwardness. It's kind of like Tony Robbins says, I'm not going to tell you there's no weeds in your garden. Okay. If there's weeds in your garden, I'm going to tell you, look, there's weeds. I'm not going to just say, look at the beautiful roses. Okay. And, so you have to tell them, administer that candor aspect of it when it comes to really truly helping people. People need to be told straight, not always that it's going to be okay. Because if it's not, then it needs to be told then, not later. And then you say, "Well, I wish I could have and should have done something or said something differently." You know, and by then it's too late.
Well, I believe that that's an accurate I believe that's very accurate, but I also believe that it's never what you say, it's how you say it,
I think
right?
it's
It's
both.
never what you say. I mean, I tell what'd you say?
I think it's both, actually. It's both. You gotta have both of those. What you say and how you say it and why you say it, and if you need to be the one saying it, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
That's why teamwork makes the dream work, I
that's
feel,
right.
I really feel like that because I mean, I'm really good at what I'm really good at, but if
Mhm.
you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it's gonna spend its whole life thinking it's stupid. So if you
Exactly.
judge me by my ability to not be loving and kind, then I'm gonna just be so far out of my element that it's not going to be beneficial. But if you come in and see me in my element, then you're going to get and see who I am. So that's why I really believe that teamwork really makes the dream work, even though that's a cliche, but it really does work.
It
The
really
right
does work, and
way.
there's a lot of cliches that have a lot of truth to them, actually. We just hear it so many times ad nauseum that we say, "Okay, that's just another saying." We get desensitized to its true meaning and effect.
Yeah.
And so absolutely the teamwork does make the dream work. What does that mean? Well, am I the right person to take care of this situation? If not, do I know a person, the right person? That's a team. When I was president of a networking chapter, a business networking chapter, that's one thing I always help people understand, that look, we all have gaps. We also are gap fillers. In other words, if I have a gap in my home and I need a plumber, I'm not going to go talk to the florist. Okay. Don't stick a bunch of dandelions in that leaky pipe. It's not going to work.
This is true.
But if I don't know a plumber and the florist knows a plumber, now she identified a gap
Yeah.
and she was able to find someone else to fill the gap. And that's important. So sometimes when we say, okay, I don't know, like in coaching, I don't know if I can uh, help this individual. I think they need a different kind of coaching. Like if it was smoking, I have a buddy that does smoking cessation through hypnotism. I never bought into that initially, but I've seen the results. I sometimes wait to see the results before I buy into anything. And so if I have somebody like that, I would offer coaching. But then again, I say, okay, but I think you might want to see my buddy Mark. You know, or if I see somebody that's still stuck in the past, I'll say, okay, I think you need to go see my friend Pam, who's a counselor. Okay, I'm not going to try to solve your problems if I think you need somebody else can fix it. Okay, in other words, I'm not a shade tree mechanic or a handyman who can fix everything. You know, here's what I know: if you are good at everything, you're great at nothing. Right?
Yeah.
You need something great to be great. If you go for good, you can only be good. If you want to be great, you got to get the things that are going to make you great. That includes the right people, the right influencers, the right wisdom, the right mentors, the right coaches. You know, I say that John Maxwell always said that, uh, and I keep mentioning John Maxwell because he's my mentor and coach, and I love the guy. But he
His
says,
books are amazing. You should tell some of the books for the audience who's listening. His books are phenomenal.
"Oh, I wish I had his newest one. I just got it in the mail, and actually we're putting together a workshop on it called High Road Leadership, and it really discusses the divisiveness of leadership in our culture today and how we can help leaders to overcome that, become the leaders that we need for our country. I mean, not just our country, but everywhere else, but definitely. But yeah, I got 21 Laws of Leadership here, right here, which I cut my teeth on this one in leadership with John Maxwell. So I actually started incorporating this in my military leadership academy. Um,
His books are so good. I mean, they are so, so,
yeah,
so good.
yeah, they are. So, but he says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with others, right? But if you want to
Yep.
go fast and far, and I always like to tag on somebody else because I always say, wait a minute, I think there's more to this. There's more to the story. And I'm not telling John this because he'll put it in a book, he'll make money on it, and I might get credit for it. But John says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with others. And I say, if you want to go fast and you want to go far, get a coach. Get a
Yes.
coach. You know,
Yep.
um,
Yes.
people don't understand the value of having a coach in their life. I didn't know it until I got one. And I have many coaches throughout. I have mentors and coaches help me to be
Yes.
successful personally and professionally. You've got to have that, because if you go
We
out
got
there
to
on,
practice listening first, right? Because if you can't listen, then
yeah,
you can go and get Warren Buffett, but you're never
yeah,
going to get anywhere until you practice listening first, right?
yeah,
You got
yeah.
to be able to listen and take positive criticism, because if you already know how to do it,
Mhm,
then just do it. But if you don't know how to do it and you come to somebody and you're asking how to do it, listen so they can tell you and ask questions. Even though some people don't like all that talk,
mhm,
you don't know what you don't know. So
mhm.
ask and ask and ask and ask and ask again until you understand it. Because if that person can't help, well, then there's someone else to ask. But if you don't ask, then you're just still in the same situation you were in before. So,
You
but
don't
you got to
get
be able to listen. So that's really important.
You don't get and chances are you would never get an audience with people like Warren Buffett because if you're going to come in there and you've already know everything, right? If you're not teachable and you're not coachable, you're not going to get that time with these kind of people, these influencers. Their time, they have learned that their time is far more valuable than the money in their account. And
Absolutely.
so you got to come prepared. You got to have questions already written out that you want to ask. And I always put, anytime I ask somebody, I want to meet somebody because I want to learn and grow from them. I do the same thing that I do with my coaching clients at the top of my notepad. And I record all of my coaching sessions and all my meetings because that's for personal use. I go back and I can, in case I missed something. And there's another reason behind that, but um, I put on the upper right corner an L. The L is for listen. And then I put a question mark.
Wow. That's
Ask
good.
questions. Those are reminders, right? So I know as a person who wants to help people solve their problems, sometimes I know exactly what they need to do. And I want to tell them, here's what you need to do. Well, when I do that, I've crossed the line as a coach. And now I'm a mentor and a teacher, right? But here's what happens: a mentor and a teacher can guide you and educate you, but you won't take ownership of it. People that make the greatest changes in their lives are the ones who finally own it. The way to own that is I ask the questions that leads them to the answers. They come up with the answers. I don't come up with answers.
That's
I
powerful.
ask the questions. And on average, it takes an average of 7 questions to get down to the root of what's going on in this person's life, to get them to that point that they can say, aha. We want to get them
Ooh,
to that
that's
aha.
good. 7. Okay, that is good. I'm so glad. Yes, my AI needs to understand. I have to ask all these questions to the AI. I'm telling you. It's probably thinking, why does she ask all these questions? So
Well,
see, there you have it. 7 questions to
hope
get to.
hopefully AI doesn't take the place of Coach Jay yet. So I'm not ready to retire from that yet. But there really is. And you know, I think people can be better than they are if they stop camping out on comparison, if they stop
Yes.
camping out in front of the news, you know, if they, the comparison trap gets a lot of people, who are you? Who are you meant to be? You don't know. I can help you figure that out. But if it's not me, get a coach. Find a life coach, find a business development coach, find a financial coach. What is it? A relationship coach. If you are in place and you want to move forward, get a coach. If you are in a place and you can't get forward, that means you're still holding on to the past. Get a counselor. Get a counselor. You know, the
Yeah, that
world
is true. Gosh, that's great.
the world needs you to show up to be your very best. God didn't create any average people. He did not create mediocrity. He did not create, just settle for. He did not create us to settle for anything. He created us for abundance. He created us for success, for great excellence and achievement. And so we got to ask ourselves, am I fully living into what my creator designed me to be? I have a t-shirt I like to wear once in a while, and it says, be the warrior you were created to be. A lot of people don't know what the warrior looks like in them.
That's
I got to help them identify that and then live into that. You know, what does your legacy look like? People
oh
think that the
my.
legacy is what people remember you by or things you left behind as far as financial property or whatever. We have a chance right now while we're still breathing to live into our legacy. Everything we do, the peoples that we touch, their lives, every single minute is part of our legacy building process, right? Um,
So
what do you
true.
want them to say about you? You got to be that. Don't hope that they get all together. I never forget, and I was on a burial honors detail when I was in the military, which is where you go and you are part of the military honors to bury our veterans. And I'll never
Mhm.
forget, we went to this one funeral to bury a veteran who, unfortunately, he died in a drug raid or a drug exchange.
Mm.
He was out there dealing and doping and got killed by another gang. He was a veteran. He was out, but he still had the benefits of an honored burial because he served his country. We had to focus on that, right? But everybody's talking around how this person was such a great person, how this person was such an asset to society and will be sorely missed by his loved ones. That's not his true legacy. That's what we wish he would have been, but that wasn't his true legacy. I want people, for me, and this is a lifelong daily mission of mine. I want people to say about me the things that are true, that they can't come up with something horrible to say, except maybe he's not as good an Elvis impersonator as we thought he was.
That's,
you know, but I
if
want them
that's
to
all
say
the
that.
bad stuff they have to say, that's phenomenal.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. But my goal in life, the way I live my life now is I know that at the end of my life, I want my Father in heaven to say, "Well done, good and faithful son." I
Wow.
want my wife, and folks, I'm sharing this with you because you can live into this each and every day. I want my wife to be able to honestly, truthfully say, "Well done, good and faithful husband." I want
Mhm.
my daughters, our son, our kids, and our grandkids to say, "Well done, good and faithful dad, good and faithful Papa J." That's what I want. I want my people who I influence and add value to. Well done, good and faithful coach. I live my life on integrity and honor and duty. The Army values I live by daily, um, and we can live into that. So, what is your legacy? What does it look like? Paint that picture. Live into that. And if you're having a hard time figuring it out, that's why you got to get a coach.
That's so true. That is so true. That is very true. I mean, you only know what you know, and so even if you're lost, a coach can help you. If or a mentor, either one. So what? Okay, let me
Mhm.
ask a question. What would you say
Sure.
the difference between a coach and a mentor is?
Okay, so a mentor is somebody who's a mentor a lot of times, and we sometimes switch hats, as coaches. A mentor is somebody who has done something that you're wanting to do. See, like if you want to become a financial genius, in stocks and investments, you would go to Warren Buffett. That's his wheelhouse. Yeah. You said you'll go?
I'm like, send me, send me, send me.
Exactly. So
I
you
want to
would
be
go
the
to
best financial person ever. So I just keep studying, studying, studying,
well,
and
then your mentors are the ones that you study.
oh, I
Sometimes
absolutely.
a mentor is not just a person that you meet face to face. A mentor can be all the resources that you're soaking in. You know, uh, uh, Ed Milet, who I want to speak on the stage with this man one day, he's been a mentor of mine, but we've never met. I've read his books, I've seen his videos, I've listened to his podcasts. Big fan, right? He's in the arena of personal growth, of helping people become their very best selves, right? I want to be able to be on stage. Well, he's a mentor. Okay. A coach is somebody who knows exactly how to connect with you where you are, does not have to know anything about your business or your industry, nothing, can connect with you as a person, as a whole being, and help you get from where you are to where you want to be by asking the right questions. A coach asks more questions than they talk. Matter of fact, I say that a coach, we use a Pareto principle. A coach talks 80% of the time, right? Or 20% of the time, I'm sorry, 20% of he's listening and asking questions, the 80%. And in that 20% that he's talking, he's asking more questions, and 80% of those questions, he's listening.
Well, maybe a mentor talks 95% of the time and they only listen 5% of the time. Maybe
Yeah,
that's the difference.
that's very possible. Very possible.
They're like,
That's
I don't
when
need all this information. I don't need you to mentor me. I'm here for you to learn.
yeah, well, that's why a person coming to get, advice from a mentor will come with the questions, okay? And the mentor will give the wisdom and the advice. Whereas a coaching client will come with the problem, the question will come with the problems, seeking answers, but a coach will ask the questions of them. And we get down to the roots because if you wanted to be a ballerina, okay, but you've never danced, you have no rhythm, and maybe you're missing a big toe, I don't know. There's there's certain things that just are not going to happen. It's just not going to happen, right? And I can coach you all day
I don't
long and
know.
take
Did
you
you
out.
see that girl who's a ballerina? She doesn't even have a body. I mean, she has no legs. She's a ballerina with her torso, so anything is possible.
And that could have been a bad example because you're right. Anything is possible. I mean, we got the Paralympics. I mean, these guys are amazing. But okay, let's say if you want to be an NBA basketball star, right? Okay. And you barely met the height requirement to be a jockey on a horse. Okay. On a horse race. You're not going to be an NBA basketball star. I'm sorry. It's not going to happen. Okay. So uh, I can't coach you how to be a great NBA level basketball, but I could coach you on how to play basketball in
Yes.
your driveway on the court. But you're not going to get to this point to here because there also is such a thing as delusion. Okay. There's a delusion that some people actually have that they can achieve something that they are not fully equipped to do. You got to have the ability, you got to have the aptitude, you got to have the attitude to achieve these things. And if you don't have these, you will not succeed. Adaptability, the adapt ability, adaptability, um, attitude. If you don't have those things, you just won't be successful. And that's the one thing I won't do either. I will not accept a coaching client that, one, they're not coachable, and two, they're delusional. You know, if they're delusional, I will say, listen, I'm going to be straight up with you, buddy. Okay. And that's the way I roll. I'm a no BS coach. Um, you just aren't going to make the team. It's not going to happen. You know, maybe you should
Hey,
strive.
I'm all about that. At least you don't feel like everybody. At least you're not one of those coaches where everybody gets a trophy.
Oh, heavens,
I'm like,
no.
why
No,
did
no,
so
no,
many
no.
people get a trophy? Why is
I'll
that
say,
happening?
give me that trophy. Well, we got to be nice. You know, you don't want to hurt
That's
anybody's
where I come
feelings.
in, being nice. But
Yeah.
sometimes
I'm
niceness is not the answer.
it's not it's like
Sometimes niceness isn't the answer.
it's not the answer all the time. Sometimes people, I mean, and that's why I said you can tell people straight and do it in such a way that it shows you care about them. And that's important. I think if you approach anybody to be straight up with them and you do it from a place in your heart where it's like, I'm fed up with this. This is BS. I'm going to just tell them like it is. No, you need to step back. You need to evaluate. That's not the way you want to respond. People don't want to be attacked, especially if they believe so much in themselves and what they want to do. You don't want to cut them down. So you got to be able to do it in such a way. That's why you got to have an incredible level of emotional intelligence, knowing what am I going to do in this situation? How should I respond in this situation? I need to figure this out before I approach this person. That's what leaders need to do with their people. That's what the people need to do with their leadership. That's what husbands and wives need to do and parents need to do is stop and say, okay, this isn't working out. How should I respond in a way that is more encouraging and supportive than condemnation and critiques? We don't have
Well,
that.
it's like EQ gives you the opportunity to reverse engineer, right? You look
Mhm.
at, and that's how I explain it a lot of times. Like, what are you trying to accomplish, right? And then once you reverse engineer what you're trying to accomplish,
Mhm.
because if you just go off the cuff, now you're responding to an emotion, and now you're going to
Exactly.
get sidetracked from what you were trying to accomplish because of your emotions,
Mhm.
and so the ability to be able to understand what that looks like, to be able to compartmentalize and still address it, right? We're not putting it away and forgetting about it, right?
Right.
But we're putting it away to address it at the proper time so we can accomplish what we set out to accomplish in the first place.
Mhm.
A lot of times I feel like we get lost on details, right? So we don't get anything accomplished because we take our eye off the prize and we get sidetracked by the details along the way.
Yeah, and that
So
paralysis of analysis starts kicking in and all that. But, the emotional intelligence. Hey, I always said that sometimes you gotta learn when good enough really is good enough. It's not settling for, it's time to step back and reevaluate. But, and I know that responding with people on an emotional level, if they have a heightened emotional state, um, they don't wanna hear logic. We got a right brain, left brain thing, okay? You gotta match it up a little bit. They need a touch of logic, but you can't bombard them with logic, okay?
yeah.
So, anybody that's not thinking straight and they're a little upset on an emotional state, what you do is you respond. with an emotion, but 2 steps lower. It's like if you and I were yelling at each other.
You de-escalate. It's
Right.
de-escalation,
You have to
de-escalation,
de-escalate,
de-escalate, de-escalate,
but
de-escalate,
that's an
because
emotional thing, but you don't wanna
they're
throw the
so
logic in
emotionally
there
charged,
from.
they can't hear you.
No, they're not gonna hear you. They're thinking only of themselves
Well,
and
they
what's
can't.
right. They have the
Because
inability to.
because of the chemicals that are being released in their body. It's not they don't want to, when
Mhm.
you look at it from that way, you even feel more tender towards them, right?
Mhm.
Because you don't feel like they're just such a hard-headed person. There's no hope. If you look at it like, okay, they're so emotionally charged that the chemicals that are being released in their body right now are keeping them from being able to receive what I'm saying to them, right?
Right.
So when you de-escalate, you let their shoulders drop down, they start to feel comfortable again, and then
Mhm.
they're able to receive what you're saying.
Yes,
So
absolutely, absolutely.
that's important.
That's very important, and I wish more people would understand that, and it goes again, that's more one of those intentional things that we have to be aware of and be intentional
Absolutely.
about preparing how to respond to these things. And too many people live life by accident, not by intentions or intentionality. And we all have intentions, and I've always loved that, everybody can make good intentions. We all have good intentions, but that and a dollar bill is not going to get you a Starbucks coffee. Okay.
Well, like
It's,
they say, the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
exactly. It really is. And, but intentionality, purposeful, intentional actions, intentional responses to people, intentional living. How do I live my life? Am I living it by accident and just following the rules of the world, or am I going to live my life intentionally and design my life? Be a co-creator with the creator. Is what I like to say. We're all co-creators. It's just that he's done a lot of creation and we're doing a lot of demolition. We are co-creators of our life.
Well,
You
that
can't
comes
just leave
back
it to
to
chance.
understanding that you create your reality. I tell everyone I have the domain, I create my reality, right?
Mhm.
And it's so true. Imagine how empowering that is when you really come to understand that you are in control of your thoughts, of your actions. You choose, unless you're in prison, you choose who you're going to talk to, who you're going to call. Everything is really being created by your thoughts. And then they become an action or not. So when you get to understand things on that level, you really are creating your world.
Yep. What you think about, you
But
bring
most
about.
people
What you
don't get that.
No, they don't. They don't. And they're still waiting
That's why
for
you're
somebody.
here. That's why you're here to tell them. That's why I'm here. It takes people that care. Most people are
Yeah.
like, look, I don't have time for this.
Right. And that's
But
what I
it
like about
takes the
this.
people who really want to make a difference.
This is what I like about this podcast. And thank you. I'm so glad we connected. And I'm so glad we had that amazing conversation a few days ago. And now here I am doing a podcast with you. So thank you so much. Um, and that's why we need more things like this. People need to hear and listen and learn and then start taking action on it, apply it to your life. I have an acronym I call REACT on anything and everything that you're learning that you are exposed to. Receive it. You got to receive it. Have an expectation of what you're wanting to learn and grow from it. Um, I'm looking over at you instead of the camera up there.
I do the same thing. I'm trying
Why
to
isn't he
learn
looking
how
at
to
me?
do this.
Receive it, expect it, apply it. All right. Apply what you're learning to your life. What are some things you need to make changes on? That's the C in React. And then the T is teach it to others. Be that influencer that's going to live it out in your life. Let other people see that you are living out your changes in your life, that you've applied something different. How many times have we known people and seen people that they were like a drug addict and then suddenly 5, 10 years later, they're totally different. They're clean. They look good, right? Because they began to learn how to change. They received it. They had an expectation to overcome that. They applied what they were learning in their groups and counseling. They began to make those changes that were suggested, recommended to them. And by living that out, they were teaching others, not just by saying, look, here's what I did to succeed, but also by their life, by example. By example, leaders lead by example. Well, we are all leading. That's the thing people need to not misunderstand. You are leading somebody because leadership is influence. Leadership
Yes.
is influence, and influence is your legacy. Okay. That's an intentional act. So,
And some people lead in a negative way, so that's why it's so important to be mindful of, our actions and what we do, and how. I mean, even me, like, I literally had a conversation last night with someone, and after the conversation, I really thought about the question, because it's such a touchy subject with me. On It was about cannabis, and I thought, why would you ask that question, and then once I thought about it, I'm like, wow, that is so powerful. It was like, hey, if what if you have it in your car and then you get stopped,
mhm.
and you're not in this state, like, because I have a medical card, because I have a broken neck and back, right?
Oh my goodness, yeah,
And it's like, why would you what happens, what if the police officer has the right, because it hasn't been rescheduled yet. And
hmm
so, in my mind, because I am a patient and it helps me function, right? In my mind, I'm like, "Ugh, well, why would there be a problem? I have a medical card." And he's like, well, it doesn't matter. It's contingent upon the officer. So, if you make this, if you're, do these kind of things, your kids can watch, and now what are you teaching them? And I was thinking, wow, once I got off the phone and took the emotion out of it, I thought, man, that is the best lesson ever. I'm going to be so mindful, because I
yeah,
don't want my kids to think that it's okay to break the law. I don't want them to speed. I don't even speed. I stay so far from the edge that
mhm,
I couldn't fall off if someone drugged me off.
yeah,
And we really don't think about how big of influence our actions have on people.
huge.
Literally.
I did a talk in New York City a few years ago on the circles of influence, and there's one of the things: the inner circle, the outer circle, and the out of the circle. Okay. And the out of the circle is essentially everyone gets an eviction notice. That should not be in one of the other two. Unfortunately, we have an open door policy in our lives that we have people on the inside, our inner circle, and we sit around and we look, okay, how did this person get that close to me in my life? Well, you had an open door. That's another thing about intentionality. And but that is the thing. We are always influencing people in some way. That's it. Channels of influence. What is influencing me? How am I influencing others? I wish this was a full screen, so I'll do little hands, T-Rex hands. What's coming in influenced, and then what's going out as influenced. There, okay, T-Rex arms.
Good.
and 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 that's how
That's
we
so
show up.
good.
So there is intentional, direct or direct influence, and there's collateral influence. People are watching you and you don't even know it. People are listening to you and you have no clue. It's what gets me when people get on social media and they're looking for, well, nobody liked my post today, or nobody commented on my post today, or I only got 10 or 20. Okay, it's like, look, I don't know how many times people have come to me on the street and said, Jay, what you said this morning on this morning's talk was awesome. They never took the time to like or heart. The truth is, we are influencing people. Now, here's the other thing, too. If I share something with you and it inspired you so much, here's what I know. And I say this on my J Talk morning show, which I'm getting ready to change the name of that actually, but the YouTube channel will be the same. Um, is that, you know, everything you do is going to influence people in some way, somehow, right? Get up, get out, and get at it, right? Because somebody in the world is needing exactly what you have to offer. And if it affects you and impacts you, chances are other people around you need to hear the same message. So you need to share that with them because that could be the one thing that makes a difference in that person's life. It's not about getting likes. It's not about getting monetization of a platform. It's not, it's about how many lives can you truly impact. And a lot of times you will never, ever, well, every time you'll never know the number of lives you actually impact. So don't do it for likes. Don't do it for comments. Don't do it for hearts and affirmations and accolades. Do it because it's the right thing to do. And somebody out there is going to hear the message and it's going to make their day. You got to be intentional about that. You
That
know,
is so
people,
powerful. I'm very glad that you said that. That is very, very, very important. It
likes
is very,
don't matter.
it's
You
so
know,
important because, so many times we feel, I think we're harder on ourselves,
oh,
than
yeah.
most people are. I know
Yeah.
I definitely am.
I am too. I am too. Yes.
I want to be the best. I want to do the best. I want to make sure that I help everybody that I can possibly come in contact with, even if I'm only helping them smile. It just feels so good to me. And
Yeah.
so we are so critical of ourselves, and that's
Mhm.
true. Hey, we never know. We really might have saved someone's life today just by our conversation that we had, you
Mhm.
know, and we could be over here feeling like, oh gosh, nobody liked this, or no one did this, so it didn't really matter, but it really does matter.
I spoke to a young lady one time, I'll never forget, at a local convenience store. We have a convenience store called Come and Go, right? And, it's don't ask, I don't know where they came up with that. But, I coulda left the name out altogether, really, but it's spelt with a K. We'll just leave it there. Alright. Um, and, but she was behind the cash register, and I could tell she was having a really bad day. And in my former employ, I was connecting people every day, you know, and it was always my purpose to inspire somebody that day. People I come in contact, how can I inspire them? How can I make them have a better day? And it wasn't Mr. Pollyanna bouncing up and down the street like Tigger, okay, thinking everything's a great day. It was like you just know when people need a message or something. Just a hi, a hello, hey, how you doing today? Oh, it's great to see you. That could be the only thing they got all day. Well, this young lady behind the register, I could tell she's having a bad day. And I just kind of leaned over. I said, look, I said, you don't know this. And she knew what I did because we had conversations because I do motivational speaking. She knew that. I said, hey, look, you don't have any idea how you being on that side of the counter is making me on side of this counter. No, I'm going to have a great day because I may have been trying to overcome a challenge and thinking my day's a mess. But because you have such a great attitude on that side, I feel better. Thank you. Now, she
Yes,
did not have such a great attitude, but you know what she did after that?
she did after it.
She started treating everybody nicer. She realized that she was making a difference on that side. It doesn't matter where you are, it doesn't matter what you do. We all have an opportunity to impact lives every moment of the day just by being kind, be
Yes.
nice. Ask them, how are you doing? And really mean it. If they say, I'm really miserable today, then you know what? I support you. I, you know, I'm so sorry that you're going through that. Can I pray for you? Can I pray with you? You know, and just that alone, and I'm a praying man too. And I'm a praying man, but just that alone, people know you care about them. That's what we want. We want to know people care about us.
Just because you even asked. Oh my
Mhm.
gosh. Yes, yes. Oh my gosh, call me. I need to get a line just so I can answer. I'm like, that's the
Yeah.
biggest thing that I tell people when they meet me. It's like, I want you to know that you're never alone from this moment going forward. You can call me, all times of the day, and I will answer, because we literally, people are so alone. We can be in a room
Yeah.
full of thousands of people. We can have 10,000 contacts in our phone and still find ourselves feeling so
Mhm.
alone.
Y
And I'm so thankful. I have my mom, you know what I mean? My mom is heaven on earth. I'm never ever going to be alone because of her. And so since she was able to bless me with that and everyone around her, it's like, wow, I want to be able to do that for other people. people
Yeah.
too, and to let someone know that they have someone to talk to is life changing.
And you've got that
It's really
amazing influence in
powerful.
your life. This is one of those stories where you have a background that made you who you are today. Amazing, wonderful person who adds value and loves people and loves life, right? And I love doing the same thing. I love helping people
It's
and
it's
find
such a
hope.
blessing.
But my background was completely different than yours, like a polar opposite. And it was one that people look at me today and wonder, how did I become the person I am today? A successful individual, a person who adds value, encourages others, who's been around the world and done these things based on my personal traumas as a kid. And the truth is, choice,
Yes.
choice. We all have choices. So
We
I'm gonna
do, and we
I'm gonna
live and
start.
die by the choices that we make. That's the biggest thing, everyone they wanna a lot of times they wanna give theirself an excuse, "Well, I
Mhm.
was this and I was that." I'm like, really, a lot of times, guess what? Me too. But you just
Yeah.
would never know that. Even though my mom was fabulous and fantastic, my life, I had other things that happened. But instead of being angry and
Mhm.
bitter, right, I chose to look at it and learn how I could grow. And this catastrophic event helped me be better. I'm walking around broken neck, back, all these different types of things that have happened to me through other people, right? But it's like I'm still fabulous. I'm still so happy because I learned. This situation, it taught me this, and I grew and I grew and I grew, right? So I always say to people, it's okay. I know it might feel like so horrible right now, but let's focus on what we can do. Like focus on the simplest thing will change how you feel at that second. I just tell people, put what's making you sick into a box. And
Mhm.
now that you have it there, we're not denying it. We're just putting it in a box for a second. Now
It's
take yourself to a place that you feel that you can't even help but smile when you think about
Yep.
it. And
Yep.
just sit in that place and let that place resonate with you, because
Yeah.
that is where you want to be.
Take yourself
And
in a
that
different
feeling,
state.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. It puts
Mental
you in a
state,
whole different state of mind. Yes, yes.
huge, huge.
And then you feel it, and the chemicals change in your body, how the what's going on. You literally just took control and changed the chemicals that were being released in your body just by taking your thoughts to a different level.
Yep.
And but think about how many people don't even know that that exists.
If they just remember this, and I
So,
learned this from Tony Robbins, and really, and I've heard, and I said it earlier too, but if they just remember this simple thing, your psychology and your physiology work hand in hand,
yes,
right? They work
very true.
hand in hand. What you put in your mind, you're going to believe and act it out in your body, your physiology. If you want to feel better, if you want to feel better, then you got to get up and do something. Get up and go for a walk. Watch something inspiring. Read a good book.
Yes.
Listen to some music. Dance around in the house. Sing like Elvis Presley. Works for me every day. Okay. All the time. But
I
that
love
changes your psychology, So they work hand in hand. And what we do daily determines our destiny. You know, what
yeah.
we decide and do daily determines our destiny. The direction that we live our life and our thoughts determines our direction, right? And our destiny. So
Yes.
we all have control of that, and your
Your
situation, with your.
direction determines your destination for sure.
Mhm. So, yeah, I've got an amazing friend, Phaedra. She, was in a car accident, gosh, probably 30 years ago. Beautiful young lady. She was a model, she was a singer, she was a performer, and we dated and coulda gotten married. That didn't happen, but it was, she was in a car accident, head-on car accident, a drunk driver drinking, and I was supposed to be in the car with her that night, but I was working a radio station overnight as a broadcaster, and so I could not make it. She went to a concert. She's coming back, and this drunk driver hits her head on. And she's driving a small car. And that ended her modeling career. And she took it. She made a choice to decide, I am not going to allow this to destroy me. I'm going to use this for good. She always had an amazing heart for people. She later went on to become Miss Wheelchair USA, which they actually have a competition for that, a pageant for that. She is a speaker, a motivational speaker. She has been the director of the Mothers Against Drunk Drivers for the state of Tennessee.
That is
She
so
has
powerful.
been in the locker room and on the sideline and on the field with the Tennessee Titans many times, football team. And she's always still, I mean, she's still motivational speaker. And truly one of my best friends. And I love to sing her praises all the time because she took something that would destroy most of us for even
Yes.
half of that, and continues to
Yes.
love
Yeah. Think
life,
about how many
love
people are
people.
destroyed and they don't even go through something like that.
Yeah. How many people get
I
stub
love
their
it.
toe and think their life's over? you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's so
Oh,
true.
so
That is so
anyway.
true. Well, okay. So now one more time, if for everyone who has heard this phenomenal information today and they want to get in touch with you, let's go over one more time how they can reach out to Coach James.
Best way is just to go to one website, one email, JAY at JKG Consultants, not consulting, consultants.com. J at JKG Consultants.com. That's the best way to get me.
That's perfect. And also, you'll be on 411business.com. You'll set your link up on there so they can reach you on there as well. That's the whole thing.
Yes.
And then for anyone else, they'll be able to go to our YouTube channel. So for everyone that's listening, hit that like button and subscribe to 411 Business Interviews and contact me so I can bring you up here so we can spotlight you and all the phenomenal things that you're being able to bring to the world. Thank you so much, James, for coming on today. I totally loved this. It was
Well,
wonderful.
this was such a pleasure for me and so fun to do, JC. And I like to have fun too. I'm a serious guy, but I like to have fun doing it. So thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, dear.
All right.
Okay.